They chainsawed our fence like it was trash. 8 in the morning, no. Knock, no letter. Just the scream of teeth on cedar while I'm still in a coffee shirt from yesterday, and my grading pile is staring at me like a jury, and in 3 cuts 40 years of my granddad's work is on the ground. Yeah, that happened. I step outside, and there they are, in matching polos that say, Community Compliance Crew. 1 with a clipboard. 1 with a camera strapped to his chest, like he's filming an episode of Authority. 1 running a saw, as if our gate personally offended him. And when I ask for a notice, a permit, anything, clipboard guy tells me, real flat. Safety enforcement, no paperwork needed. And you can actually feel the insult in the air like heat coming off asphalt. I check the mailbox anyway, because part of me wants to be wrong. It's empty, my stomach drops, and then I hear a coffee cup set down behind me, and my granddad Hank walks past. With that calm I've seen 1,000 times, opens. The shed drags out a weight from another era, sets a belt-fed M60 relic on the picnic table like he's placing down the family Bible, and just sips his coffee on his own porch. The saw dies mid-breath. The kid with the GoPro stops grinning. Clipboard. Man tries to swallow his tongue, and Hank doesn't point. It doesn't touch it again. He just lets the history sit there while he says, Morning, gentlemen. Enjoying my porch. So soft, it lands like a gavel. And suddenly, the performance breaks. They pack the saw, like it's on fire, and mumble about coming back with proper authorities, and Hank just nods. Looking forward to some real ones, while my gate lies open like a wound, and the neighbor across the street records all of it, because this is America, and everybody's a witness, if their battery isn't dead. By noon, the clips are online strangers, arguing about a dangerous old man and a fake HOA, and my phone is a slot machine of opinions, and I'm sitting there thinking about the Bill of Rights I teach, and the days my own students look at my sweater and decide, kindness equals weakness. You know what I mean, and I can feel something in me. Stiffen, not loud, not violent, just a backbone. I forgot I had. So I do the only thing a powerless person learns to do. I start pulling levers. I read actual HOA process. Notice hearing appeal. Court order, if it ever goes that far. I check state databases for licenses and insurance. Nothing on this crew. Like the name was printed yesterday and will be gone tomorrow, and that's when the messages start. A mailbox ripped out on Cactus Ridge, a backyard gate sliced 2 blocks over. Same polos, same truck that never parks where you can get a clean plate, and then a text from a number that doesn't want to be known. Check county permits project. Sunset Crest, logistics. Spur, follow the easements. Fluorescent lights in the records office make everyone look guilty, but the maps are clean enough. Arbora West development wants a logistics spur rerouting trucks down Mesquite Drive, right where our family's gate narrows the road. And on a plan note, in planner language that tastes like drywall, it says obstruction removal, prioritized along existing right-of-way. And I feel the heat rise in my neck because suddenly, this isn't safety or neighborly anything. It's a path. And we're on it. By the time I get home, a black SUV is in our driveway. A woman in a cream blazer introduces herself as Sloan Harwood. Neighborhood Alliance president, 2 men flanking her like punctuation. And she says without a blink, "We need the immediate surrender of that unregistered weapon." And Hank steps forward with a VA folder that's older than me, DeMilled relic paperwork laminated, and clean private property all proper. And Sloane's voice tightens, while my patience does not. We have authority to confiscate items that threaten public safety, so Hank asks, "Do you have a badge, a warrant?" And the commas behind her don't produce anything. And the silence that follows is the loudest thing I've heard all week. We offer them chairs because hospitality is our family's stubborn religion. They decline. They leave. And 10 minutes later, our street turns into an inbox. Some folks telling us to hide some, telling us to fight. And one land rights attorney named Maya Tran saying the only words my heart can hear: document everything. Victims matter. Patterns matter. Don't play hero alone. So I don't. I make a group called Hold the Line Silver Mesa. I post what we know with screenshots and timestamps, and my own face saying, "Don't take my word. Bring your receipts." And while the join count jumps, the SUVs roll back. This time, vests and clipboards and measuring wheels and paper that looks official. If fonts are just shapes to you, and I click, go live. And 3,000 people wander into our front yard through their phones. Sloan reads from a sheet like she's inside a law book. Official Compliance Inspection Code, 12-7. Hank sets his folder down next to the relic under the morning light, where it looks like a bronze statue that means remember yourself. My neighbor Mrs. Delgado walks over with her chin up and says, "They don't represent us." And you can feel an axis tilt because quiet people carry earthquakes. Then fate does what it loves. It trips a man. A folder spills. And there on the porch, in crisp color, is a logo that says, Arbora West Development. Not HOA. Not community. And the chat detonates. Screenshots fly, people yelling from their couches. "We see you," and that's when Deputy Morales pulls up with the kindness of a real badge. Checks Hank's papers, nods, turns to the vests and asks for credentials for the relationship with Arbora, and one of them answers, half a sentence by accident. Panic is honest. And the deputy says, "Don't finish that without a lawyer." And I almost laugh from relief. If the story ended there, I'd wrap it with a bow. But power, without its costume, goes looking for darkness. And at 2:06 a.m. on Friday, our motion lights pop like noon. I'm live before my brain catches up. 3 figures in hoodies move like they've rehearsed battery saws, pry bars. Not the daytime show, the midnight job, and we rebuilt the gate with sacrificial bolts just like Hank taught me. So when you hit it wrong, it drops outward. Big, loud, harmless. And on camera, it looks like guilt confessing itself. Their faces light up like driver's license photos. One of them is the GoPro kid. Only now he looks 19 and tired. And while 2 run toward the street, the kid peels off, hands up at the edge of our light where I didn't know it was all this. They said it was just content a gig. And Hank nods like he's seen 1,000 boys make one bad choice and still turn around. "You're learning," he says. "Better today than 10 years from now." And I swear to you, the kid's shoulders drop 2 inches, like someone removed a backpack full of rocks. By dawn, the yard looks like a workshop exploded. And by lunch, our lawn is a town hall, folding tables, extension cords, a borrowed projector. Neighbors who've been told for years they were overreacting now lining up with thumb drives and bills and photos of the same dent over the rear wheel of the same truck. And we call it a community testimony review, because naming things is half the fight. Halfway through, Janine from the HOA board, the quietest person on our street, holds up a tiny recorder with shaking hands and says, "I recorded this because I was scared." And the voices coming out of our speaker are the kind that put cement in your knees. Sloan calling older homeowners, Obstacles. A man tied to our bora saying, "Keep us at 2 arms length, and the county will fast-track if complaints stay low." And I look at Hank, and he looks at the horizon like he's reading history in real time. District Attorney. Carmen Reed walks in. Without sirens. Says the word racketeering without flinching, asks for affidavits and raw video and names on paper, and hands go up. Not flashy, just steady, because courage doesn't strut. It shows up with a pen. It doesn't turn into a movie. It turns into a long line of paperwork and interviews and a tired kind of hope. Sloan pleads to fraud with restitution and a face that looks like somebody else wrote her lines. A few of the vest guys get charged with trespass and destruction and learn to sit before the floor. Tells them to Arbora's local director disappears and then reappears in an indictment with a smell like money-changing pockets, and we rebuild the gate with cedar and stain and a small sign Hank carves that says "Private Land Public Proof," and we put the relic under glass like a museum piece next to a folded flag where the grandkids are allowed to touch with one finger. And a question. Riley the kid takes a job with a licensed company that shows him what authority actually looks like. Credentials, first cameras last, and Mrs. Delgado, who was never quiet. Just waiting runs point for hold the line, like she was born to herd cats in city councils. Do people still ask if we went too far? Of course, if going live was reckless, if placing the relic on the table, even as a symbol, was irresponsible, if calling the whole town to our lawn made it worse, and here's what I know. They cut our gate at breakfast with no paper and a channel rolling ready to make us the villain. We put up our own camera and told the truth. In present tense, we didn't point a weapon. We pointed a light. We didn't invite a fight. We invited witnesses. And sometimes that is the most American thing you can do on a Tuesday when you want to trust the system. But you remember systems are tools, not gods. We won. Not because we were loud, but because we were seen. Because neighbors stood beside us, and a deputy asked the right questions, and a kid decided to grow up in one sentence. And still, I catch myself watching the corner when a white SUV turns ritual, is how you tell fear. It doesn't get to run your day, so Hank cleans the relic on Sundays. And I teach people in our group the questions that hold lines who authorize this. What's your credential number? Where's the court order? May I read that in writing and I say, please and thank you. And no, when no is the word. You know what I mean. So tell me, did we overreact or did we wait too long? Is a belt-fed relic on a porch table a symbol that calms thieves or a symbol that spooks neighbors? Where is the line between authority and theater, between safety and convenience, between being a good neighbor and being a quiet victim? Drop your take in the comments. Argue with me. Argue with each other. Respectfully share your story. If someone with a vest ever tried to make you small, and if you want more real people pushing back in real time. Hit subscribe, tap the bell. Send this to the one neighbor who thinks their voice doesn't matter. And next time, somebody shows up with a chainsaw. And no paper, ask them to spell their name while the camera's running. That's not a threat. That's a lesson. And I grade those.